Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Tuesday, coming to you from high atop the golf club at the Eagle Point Studios. Joined by Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News and the Big Ten Network. Mike, of course, this past weekend, Indiana got the news that they have been waiting for and the fans have been waiting for, and that was the commitment of Liam McNeeley, a five-star out of Montverde Academy. And one of the first things that he said is he's going to be in the ear of Boogie Fland and talking to his teammate, Derek Queen, which, of course, bodes well for Indiana. But the decision by, first of all, landing Liam McNeeley, another big win for Mike Woodson as they go head-to-head with Kansas in that.
Well, I think that, for me, the opposition is only, to me, important in that it becomes more formidable if it's Kentucky or Kansas or Carolina or whoever. It doesn't, to me, convey greatness because those guys miss on people sometimes too. So that doesn't matter. What it is it's in the tape, and the tape is really, the tape is epic. I mean, he's a big wing who can handle, drive it, shoot. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's 6'8", who can put the ball on the floor, shoot at an elite level, who plays physically and tough. He doesn't mind mixing it up. He's not afraid to mix it up. Obviously, if you have the ability to get the ball to the lane, you're going to get hit at times, and he doesn't shy from that at all. He's an excellent shooter. He's got great form. You just don't see a lot of guys like this. A lot of 6'8" guys who can really shoot it. And I think that basketball is better at utilizing those players earlier in their careers than it used to be. There was a time, probably 20, 25 years ago, when a player with his skill set, college basketball didn't know what to do with him. I think of a young man named Jared Ward, who was from Mississippi and wound up playing at Michigan. And I'm not putting on any coaches, but I don't think the game knew what to do with a Jared Ward then. But it does now. The game accommodates that player. The game is to an extent built around wing players, and if you have the size that a Liam McNeeley has, it's even more advantageous to you because then you can defend multiple positions. You can defend the four if you have to. You obviously can defend your own man. You have that ability. Probably you can switch on to a smaller two if you have to. But then that player, that bigger four has to switch on to you, he's going to struggle to keep up. The smaller two is going to struggle to deal with you when you get the ball deep. So it's a great advantage that he enjoys because of his size. I mean, I think I need to see a longer sample size of what he does as a shooter within games. But I do know that guys who can shoot are underrated by the services. It's the one weakness that still exists. Big guys are overinflated to a small degree. The best big guys are overinflated a little bit. And the best wings who can shoot are always a little bit under where they ought to be. So he's listed top 15. If he can shoot it the way I think he can, I think he's probably more valuable than that.
45% last year, currently shooting 40%. That's just a high number. I mean,
yeah, and he's playing good comp too.
He's exactly.
Yeah, and so like I said, I wanted to see it a little bit over time, but the numbers are there. And like I said, from my ability to evaluate what a good shooter looks like, he's got great form. He's got good positioning with his feet. He knows how to. He doesn't overextend on his shot. A lot of young jump shooters will overextend. They get more elevation than is helpful to their shot. You don't need to jump 40 inches to get off your jump shot. And all it does is it's harder to control the verticality. It's harder to keep on frame. He jumps as much as he needs to jump. So he keeps a very steady, consistent angle on the shot. He's a really attractive player. I think there's a real appeal to how he plays, and I would venture to say that, like players in previous seasons, he's probably better than the 15th or 13th player in his class. It's a good class, but he's probably better than that, because I do think wings who can shoot are still underrated by by the consensus, by the services. I'm not picking on any one individual service. That's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the value of that player now. You need those guys who can stretch the floor, and I don't think they're always embraced in the way that they could be. I mean, I think about a year ago, when Grady Dick came into Kansas, and I saw him play here in Indy at the Champions Classic, and I'm like, there's no way that kid's top 15. He's one of the 3 or 4 best freshmen in the country. It was automatic because he was such an amazing shooter. That you just can't underrate that guy. We saw it as well down in Alabama with their freshmen from a year ago. You just didn't see the kind of embrace of Brandon Miller when he was being recruited that you should have, and he winds up being basically first or second team All-American. He was not as highly rated as he should have been because he was a big wing who can really shoot. So that's the excitement about what Indiana is getting to their team. We talked before. I mean, honestly, if he could skip out on Montverde and walk into this team right now, I mean, he would answer the last question about this team, because then you'd have all that size, you'd have a veteran point guard, and you'd have a guy who can hit 40% on threes. He would literally answer your last question.